Welcome into Three the Harder Way, aka the three-man gel and weave, aka
I like how you put that in, man. You say
I had to put it in.
It was me smooth.
The best big three since LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. And if you are here for football, golf, track, you're in the wrong spot. It is strictly sports. That's not sports, strictly basketball, strictly hoops. This is all we doing. So if you don't know who I am the walking bucket, instant offense. Anytime you need me, Savage. Up here, I got the coach on the sideline, taking them to school on and off the court. And when I say it's really shitty, it's really shitty. Got my guy Sheedy. Sheedy, what up?
What's up, man? What a privilege to be here, man, with you, brother. Like he said, I'm a coach on and off the court. Respect to Bill Russell.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Bill Russell. Shout out to number 6. Over here, I got my guy, the sample man himself, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ. He lighting up one because it's after hours on a Sunday. My guy, Tev Shakir. Took, what up?
Savage, what's going on, brother? You know, it's been a minute since we've been able to get something together. We've been trying to get something together, and now we finally here. Yep. It's Sunday. You know, I'm feeling OG-ish. We all feeling OG-ish. So, you know, this is one of them times where we're going to smoke, talk hoops, and give the people what they want.
Yes, sir. This has been a long time in the making, like Tevin said. We've been talking about it, I feel like, for months about doing something. Then, of course, me and Sheedy, we've been talking about stuff as well. So I was like, let me just go ahead and just form Voltron right now and get my two guys here to talk about some basketball, man. So,
yo, and if anyone picks up on that reference to Voltron, man, I'll send them like 25 cents cash.
Yeah. 25 cents.
I mean, because back in the day when Voltron was hopping, you feel me? You could get a bag of chips for 25
Well, they're going to charge you 25 cents to send that.
That has nothing to do with me. I'm just saying I'm going to send the quarter. I'm going to send the quarter, brother.
Look, I'm trying to get it today. You got to wait 2 days because of the
you can't even
charge.
Put a quarter. Look, inflation, you can't even put a quarter in a bubble sheet no more. It's too long now.
All right, man. So this is episode 1 of Three the Harder Way. And I gave the guys homework at the beginning of last week, so I know they well prepared for this. So new NBA season's coming up. It's coming up, I want to say, like in late September, early October, whichever day it is. We'll figure it out once the schedule comes out later this week. And so I got an assignment for y'all. And I'm going to do this on Twitter as well, just to ask people who are listening to the podcast. But do not hold us to these predictions, because this is not us predicting the season right now. We're just evaluating teams who did make the playoffs and who didn't make the playoffs last year, and seeing who could slide into the playoffs from the East and from the West as well too. So what we did is we took 2 teams from each conference, all 3 of us, and we said this team can make the playoffs because of X, Y, and Z, whether that's coaching changes, free agency, draft, trades, whatever. And then we also did the flip side of that, is that these teams might not make the playoffs because of the trades, free agency, whatever they did in the offseason. So with that being said, guys, who or which conference do y'all want to do first? And who want to go first with their team?
Well, I mean, let's do it. The sun rises the East and sets in the West, so you might as well start in the East and go West. And I mean, it don't matter who starts.
Well, you spoke up, Sheedy. Go ahead. Each conference, just give me one team that you got that's gonna make it, and then we'll just go you, Took, and then me, and we'll just keep that order going.
Got you. So starting in the East, you said one team that I got making it into the playoffs this upcoming season for sure, man. And I'm not trying to be biased or anything, so people.
I'm sorry, I didn't add the team that didn't make it last year. So
it didn't make it last year. Right. They did make it last year. That's going to make it this year.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
And again, not biased. People that don't know me know where I'm from. But I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are in the playoffs next season, man.
Them too.
For sure. You look at the Cavs, they were really realistically Jared Allen a few games missed out from being in a better position for the play-in scenario. He did come back and play that last game in the play-in, I believe, but he wasn't as effective as he could have been with that throw. But I look at that team and I wonder what can happen with a healthy Garland and Sexton, or what they're going to do with Sexton, right? Are they going to trade Sexton, whatever? But without Sexton, this is where they ended up at, the 9th seed pretty much, looking into the playoffs. And again, Jared Allen was hurt towards the end of the season. I really believe full-heartedly that the Cavs will make it this upcoming season. Just based upon the roster, they also lost Rubio, right? He was out for part of the season too.
I think he's hurt going into next season too. I think he had like a ACL or something like that.
Yes, but the good thing is he's not going to be gone during their kind of like playoff stretch, so to speak. You're also talking about a team with the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you looked at their resume over the past 2 years, they spent some time at a top seed, if not a top 4 seed, at least 3 weeks out of that season. This is not something that happens very often with Cleveland since post LeBron, so to speak, or even pre LeBron. And so I think the Cavs are definitely a team. They're hungry, they're young. And if you don't have anything to say good about them, you got to look at even Evan Mobley. That kid from USC.
Yes, sir.
Is when I say a dog. I think.
And they got his brother too. They got his brother.
Yes, exactly. If one is good, twice is nice, right? And I really, when I watched Evan Mobley play, I think it was one game with USC, the first game of their season 2 years ago. And I think I texted in our group chat, say, hey, look out for this kid. And lo and behold, he's putting up about 17 and 7, 8 a night, man. And that's a kid that's going to continue to grow and prosper in Cleveland. Him and Garland together are going to make some noise, and they're going to keep Jared Allen to protect the rim. So give me the Cavs as my first team that did not make the playoffs last season, but is going to definitely be in this upcoming season.
I don't know if you had Cleveland too. Did you have Cleveland as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could talk about Cleveland then. We all had Cleveland.
I definitely had Cleveland too. One thing that was real underrated, right, last season, and for a Grizz fan, it kind of hurt me, was the fact that they actually had Rajon Rondo on the bench. Mm-hmm. You know, that's literally a second coach, and we saw, Garland literally turn up. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Sexton wasn't playing either, he literally had the ball, and coach told him, all right, go. And we saw a beautiful basketball player be born in the Darius Garland. First time All-Star, definitely expect him to be one too. Definitely expect the Cavs to make the All-Star, not the All-Star team, the playoffs, for the simple fact that Kevin Love actually smiled while he was playing basketball too. You know what I'm saying? I think chemistry.
Some time.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hear a lot on this podcast on how chemistry. The chemistry was there. They looked like they were having a good time playing ball with each other. You hit the nail right on the coffin with Mobley. As a Grizz fan as well, you wanted to see that dog that he already had in a player like Jaren Jackson. We'll talk a lot more about him on this pod. But you see a dog in Evan Mobley already. He's, damn near 7 feet that can do everything. Him and Garland are team players you can build around. Sexton missing, of course. But I think that the way that the Cavs are set up, you might as well go ahead and give Garland the keys and let him roll too. I don't expect Sexton to re-sign with them, but I do want them to bring some kind of veteran point guard in because, like I said, Ricky Rubio is hurt, and that does matter. That does mean something because Ricky Rubio is still a pretty good player. Outside of that, you got top to bottom, Karis LeVert. Gerald LeVert cousin is still hooping. Another off season of being healthy, and you had him at all-star level as well. So you have a really good young Cleveland Cavs basketball team that I'm excited to actually watch play basketball next season.
I forget that he was Gerald LeVert's cousin. That makes a lot more. But you know what's crazy though? If Sexton stays, they can have LSG because you can't LeVert, Sexton, and Garland. Some old hits real. But I had Cleveland as well, man. Cleveland has the unique problem. Similar to the Grizzlies and the Warriors, where you just have too many good players, and at some point you got to make a move to prioritize your main people. And in my opinion, it is Garland, it is Mobley, it is Jared Allen. Because Karis LeVert, I'm like, is he gonna stay? Is he gonna play? I don't know. He gets hurt a lot. They did draft Agbaji out of Kansas, who could be Karis LeVert insurance. Like you mentioned, they had Rubio. They brought in Raul Neto as another point guard option for them. And I just think Cleveland, they should have made it last year. Literally, they were a top 4 seed for most of the season. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff, the coach who was with Memphis for a little bit before going on to Cleveland. I just feel like they should have made it last year, and they're good enough to make it this year. They can legit have 2 or 3 All-Stars next year if these players reach their potential. Because Mobley, I think, is an All-Star in the making. Jared Allen literally is like a walking double-double at all times. Darius Garland, he's going to continue to improve. I mean, I don't know if people remember Darius Garland because he didn't play that much in college. Dude get buckets, man. Like, dude, he has like a dog mentality to the point where you don't necessarily need Sexton. But as you mentioned too about him not re-signing with Cleveland, I think he will because I don't know if anybody's going to pay him that money. It's been a long time since anybody has talked about Sexton. As far as other teams, he doesn't have a qualifying offer with Cleveland, so he might just have to stick with Cleveland for 1 year or however long it needs to be. But
would you put him on the bench and have him coming off the bench?
Oh yes,
he has no choice.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure.
Absolutely. That man can get the Brooklyn Nets game from a couple years ago. That's all I need to see. Yeah, definitely. And if I'm him, I'm like, look, this is gonna be a top 4 team in the East probably. I can get 20 points off the bench as long as JB said, hey, I'm gonna sit you on the bench, but when you in the game, do you? That's cool with me. So give me the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've surprisingly been consistent since LeBron has left. They had like a progressive growth. And that's even since Griffin, I think David Griffin was his name, he left and went to the Pelicans. It's the moment he left, they just started making smart decisions.
Yes.
And if I'm LeBron, I'm like, hey, in about 2 years, I might pull up one more time, in Ohio, just to be sure that everything is everything. You know, so yeah, we all had Cleveland as a team in the East. I think that was a pretty easy one for a team that's making it. So let's put the other side of the coin. What's the team that made it last year that might not make it? Start with Sheedy.
Oh man. Staying out east, going East Coast, man. This net situation is very sticky to me. And I'm going to say that they're not in the playoffs. And the crazy thing is, even though I say that, and as I say that again out loud for like the 45th time, if this team has Durant, they may make the playoffs. But if they have Kyrie, ain't happening. But again, I don't believe that the Nets make the playoffs this upcoming season. The reason why I say that is because we mentioned the Cavs already. You got the Heat, the Celtics, Bucks, 76ers. That's 5 teams right there. The Raptors and Bulls, to me, got better because they either were missing players from the previous year, or you've seen the advancement of my guy, Scotty Barnes. You're talking about a walking bucket. You're talking about a lockdown defender. Yeah. Scotty Barnes is continuing to elevate his game defensively. And when he gets his offense figured out, it's scary. And so to me, I think the Nets are not going to make it. And I think also there's a situation happening in the coaching staff and ownership along with Durant. So all that, when you talk about the best player on your team, that alignment is just not there for me right now. So as it stands today, I'm going to say that the Nets are one team that will not make it this upcoming season. And that was very hard for me to decide upon. And I also want to say this before I pass it over to Toot, man. I am never, ever, ever, and I've never went against Durant, ever. Durant will go down as quite possibly the greatest scorer on all 3 levels that we've ever had a chance to see. His name is Easy Money Sniper for a reason. But I just don't think he is enjoying, to your point about enjoying Kevin Love in Cleveland, Kevin Durant's not enjoying himself in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant's been spending time with, I don't know, James Harden. He's been spending time away from the team, so to speak. So there's not that chemistry. So like I said, without Durant there, a Kyrie-led team, when was the last time a Kyrie-led team made the playoffs again, fellas? Ain't happened. So, but a Durant-led team has made the playoffs. But again, I just don't see that alignment happening right now.
I'm curious to know what Toot got to say about that, because
I got a lot to say about it, but we're talking about, because on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably the biggest Kevin Durant fan you probably don't.
You are. You are.
Honestly, for me to reply to Sheedy's response, that's a whole nother topic that I hope we talk about before the end of this podcast. So we're gonna leave that one right there. But because at the beginning of the summer, I said Kevin Durant and Kyrie ain't going nowhere, I'm gonna stick to my guns until it happens. You know, that's part of the new media.
That's how I feel too. I feel like they gonna stick it out.
That's a new media salute there. So I'm gonna hold my guns until I'm out. So I do expect Kevin Durant and Kyrie and Ben Simmons to play. I guess we'll talk about that another day. But if they do play, I think you're looking at a Nets team from top to bottom is the best roster in the East, in my opinion, if they play, if healthy. So I'd expect them to make the playoffs, but this is no shot because I love this. I love everything that you said about the Raptors. But if we got the Cavs making it, it's because that they're a better team than the Raptors, I think.
We here too. We here.
That's what we're gonna get to. I think in the Eastern Conference, that's kind of where we're gonna get to because the Raptors are still a fairly young team. They still got some growing to do. But I love Scotty Barnes. I love him. I love him to death. I love everything that they got going on over there. But like I said, if we got the Cavs making it, somebody got to dip. And I think it may be the Raptors. How they're kind of like young teams trying to come up.
I got the Raptors as well. And I feel like I'm not throwing any shots to the Raptors because I love Scotty Barnes, love Gary Trent Jr., Spicy P, Fred VanVleet. I think what they're going to realize is if they don't get Kevin Durant, because they're trying to get better. There's smoke around Kevin Durant going to Toronto, Drake connection, all of that. Like we all know something going on with Kevin Durant, obviously. And Toronto is trying to get better. If they cannot get better, I think at some point during the season, they'll realize we've reached our ceiling with VanVleet, who y'all know I love Fred VanVleet. That's the Hall of Fame Fred VanVleet. I always say that. I love VanVleet. I love Spicy P, but I feel like they're going to reach their ceiling. And what they're going to see, as Sheedy mentioned, is that Scotty Barnes is that dude. And what do you do when you get that dude? Unlock him and remove everybody else that need the ball. Like Spicy P, trade first round draft picks. Fred VanVleet, you were all-star player last year, first time all-star. Trade you for draft picks and let Scotty Barnes develop on his own to be that primary scorer. And then at some point in the draft, I don't know if y'all know about Scoot Henderson. I don't know if y'all know about Wembanyama from overseas, from France. Get them draft picks and figure out some way like, hey, we might can move these lottery balls around in order for us to get a top pick to put with Scotty Barnes for the future. So I think at some point they may say, okay, we might not be as good as we think we are. Trade these all-stars, get picks back, and take a step back this year in order to take a couple steps forward in the future. So like Tu said, I get the Raptors as well as a potential team that might not make the playoffs at all next year, but they'll still be a good team. They're going to be competitive, but it's a log jam at the top, man. It's tough. Somebody got to get out. Somebody got to get out.
Right. Like I said, if you ask me to pick between the Cavs and the Raptors next year, I kind of got to go with the Cavs.
Yeah.
I respect. Yeah, definitely.
All right, team that's going to be in there. Last team that's going to be in.
Last team in, man. Lord have mercy. And taking this team, man. So this team, I think they're going to get better on their own, so to speak, because there weren't that many trades or deals that really happened for teams in the Eastern Conference that did not make the playoffs to get better. I mean, you're talking about teams that didn't make the playoffs: Cavs, Hornets, Knicks, Wizards, Pacers, Pistons, and Magic. There wasn't a lot of traction to star talent that went there. But to me, I think another team to look out for to make it the playoffs this upcoming season will be the Washington Wizards. You got Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's going to be about 30 plus. I'm still waiting on Kuzma to show up. But I think maybe, he's finding himself a little bit more in Washington. Who knows? Who else is trying to find himself is KP out there. So
contract year.
Yeah. So, I mean, he left Dallas because he wanted to be number one. You're still not number one with the Wizards. But how can you, to your point, contract year, how do you prove yourself as being number one? And one is staying healthy. But I got the Wizards, not in like a top 4, top 6. They're going to be in a play-in scenario. And I just think they're going to win at least one game. So that would mean they're 7th or 8th to get there. If they're in a 9-10 situation, I think it's a little more challenging for them. So they would have to be the 8. For me. And I got the Wizards. You never know what's going to happen, fellas. Yeah. We never know what trades are going to happen, what injuries are going to happen, what's going to occur. So I picked the Wizards, man. They're the one team that did make it last season besides the Cavs that I think can make some traction. But I'm pretty confident I know where Toop's going to go. And if he is saying exactly what I think so, I'm going to give him a thumbs up.
Did you have Washington, Toop?
I did.
We all here watching. Look at us on the same page. Look
at I actually did because literally everything. I do my research, brother. I do. That's one thing you don't find out about this. I do my research. You know what I'm saying? And Bradley Beal, he only played 40 games last season. You know what I'm saying? KP, we talk about his health. He only played 17. So they end up getting, Harold, and he ended up being a pretty good fit for them, as well as getting up and down the court. And they end up trading for the homie Will Barnes, the U of M homie Will Barnes. So shout out to him.
I love that move. Love it.
Kyle Kuzma, you said you want him to come into his own. He averaged 17 points a game last season, which wasn't too bad.
And get boards too. He get them rebounds.
And he looked, and if you go and look and watch the Draymond Green podcast, he actually talked about his evolution as a player overall. And I kind of saw that. So if it's a player we'll talk about that maybe an all-star next season, I think Kyle Kuzma will be there, especially if we do get that. If he's a B option, I can see him being an all-star, or at least putting up all-star numbers next season. But Brad Beal coming back, we know exactly what Brad Beal gonna do. He's gonna put up a bucket. He's underrated on defense. And at this point, I think you got a collection of players who just want to win.
Right. I got you.
So I think the Washington Wizards, I think they're gonna be a top 5 team. If healthy, they're gonna be a top 5 team. I don't see them in the play-in at all, honestly. They're that good. They're that good from a roster. You got a bunch of young players as well. That once it all get together and mesh, we were looking at something. Monte Morris as well is another great addition.
Yep.
Very underrated.
From the Nuggets. My goodness.
He's going to start on this thing because we talk about how
he's been waiting for that. He's been waiting for that.
You're gonna need that shadow.
We need that. But we talk about as great as how the importance of Tyus Jones. Who had one of the best, he had the best assisted turnover ratio. Behind him was Monte Morris. He knows how to get the players the ball. He's going to be starting, and I'm expecting to see him, become a better player as well. So you get a whole bunch of young players that want to win together. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm just hoping that they stay healthy to do it. Who'd you want me to pick, though, Sheedy?
Well, I'm answer that in a minute, but
okay.
What we talked about with Kuzma was also because there was no spotlight for him, right? He didn't have to be underneath a shadow of a Bradley Beal or anyone else, and I enjoyed that time as well. I thought you'd pick the Hornets, to be honest. I thought you would.
Oh, they got too much going on, bro.
I feel
not yet. Yeah, not yet.
Yeah,
because Bridges is gonna be a hit.
They failed to get a big man. Like, what the hell?
They drafted the guy from Duke though.
Nah, we got the homie from Memphis that would have been a much better pick, and they had him.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was literally in their hands.
That was Lob City right there for Melo.
After that, I said, I'm good because the Hornets management don't know what the hell they just did. That's literally Dwight Howard for them. I'm not saying he's Dwight Howard, but the numbers that Dwight Howard
body is there. Got the body for it.
Melo is going to get you that basketball. Melo's going to get you that basketball. But you let him go. And Mal Bridges got his whole thing dealing, off the court issues. So
it's over for him, bro.
It's a wrap for them. So I feel like I'm picking Hornets.
Going back to the Wizards, Kuzma amongst the qualified players, because as far as like the games played, he led the Wizards in points, rebounds, and assists. So that's just Kuzma to like, hey man, I'm finna cook. People forget the Wizards were like the number 1 seed for like early part of the season until basketball got a little bit real. But I feel there was some truth to them actually being a cohesive team. And I also believe in good basketball juju because Bradley Beal signing with Washington, being loyal to the team. Sound crazy, but I just think that there's gonna be some type of good vibes for Washington. And what's more is that this says a lot about Washington as a franchise, like that, like they want to play for that team. Kuzma thriving there. Bill, I think Bill's just like I'm the man now because John Wall ain't there anymore. So yeah, I had Washington as a good option. They did draft Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin, basically to replace KCP, similar type of player, 3-and-D. They got DeLon Wright as well, former Grizzly, who can be a walking triple double if he's allowed to play. But again, Monte Morris is there. KP is on a player option, so he has the motivation to play well. And if he don't, they gonna get him up out of there. But I think that KP, he averaged I think like 20-something a game. Like dude can score. He got to score from the inside. He think he a guard and he's 7'3". Like nah, I need to get your ass in the paint and score because you are literally a foot taller than most of these players. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Washington will. I think they actually will. Like you can book this for me. Like I think Washington will make the playoffs just because Bradley Beal, he got paid. now you got to play. I can't pay you and you doing that John Wall mess. You got to play, my guy. You got to come out here and play.
I got a question for y'all, man, because we definitely got to salute, man. We got a general manager in Washington, I guess an owner really, who don't mind playing players, right? Mm-hmm. So salute to him. But why do y'all think it's such an issue for a basketball player to want to make $50 to $60 million a year playing basketball rather than go chase a ring? Like, what's y'all opinion on
that? I think I'll start, and then of course y'all can take over. I think the image of who you are after basketball, right? Not like the money that you make. Are you rich? Are you poor? Are you broke? Like Latrell Sprewell, I've seen as broke, but he was a great basketball player during his time, and he didn't chase quote unquote the money, or so to speak, or didn't get enough money, so to speak, but he didn't get any rings, right? And I think a lot of times we say Michael Jordan is the greatest. Why? Because he's got 6 rings. He's undefeated in the finals. And I think that's one of the reasons why some players will chase rings over a Damian Lillard, who's going to get the money by staying in Portland. Steph Curry. Steph Curry, who's going to stay and go. So like players in that era of basketball is also kind of dead. You don't have the Dirk Nowitzkis or the Kobe Bryants or the Tim Duncans that stay on their team until they retire. It's kind of unsaid and untold, but they also, the players I just mentioned, won rings for those teams too. Mm-hmm. So I think if you see that I'm getting 50 to 60 million a season, and eventually I will, to Savage's point, eventually they're going to compete for a ring. That's the hope and the goal, even if I'm getting 50 million. But in the interim time, I don't see that right now. Microwave society. So let me go ahead and hop on a Golden State bandwagon, a Miami bandwagon, whatever bandwagon, so I can get as close to the ring as possible. I want to smell it. I want to feel it. Besides grinding for it and getting what I need, how Giannis did with Milwaukee.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, look, man, get paid. Young Dolph, rest in peace, long live Dolph. Get paid, man. Like $60 million for Damian Lillard. Hey, man. I understand.
What's rule number 1?
Get the money first. Rule number 2, don't forget to get the money. Damian Lillard did not forget. If
people understood that, the world would be a better place. Rest in peace, Dolph.
For sure. But like, I think another good example of a guy where like the money doesn't necessarily matter, but I think you're so good of a player that regardless of what amount you get, you're going to do well. That's Chris Paul, man. Like people hate Chris Paul. I don't know why. But Chris Paul is a hooper. Like wherever Chris Paul has went, that team has made the playoffs. It can be the Hornets, it can be the Clippers, it can be the Thunder, it can be the Suns in the finals last year. And so nobody was picking this. I definitely wasn't picking the Suns go to the finals prior to Chris Paul going there. I thought they're gonna be a nice team, but I wasn't expecting Booker to become a legit all-star. Y'all know how I feel about Aiden. So Chris Paul, in my opinion, was the engine behind it. And he didn't go to like a ready-made situation per se, but he went there and he made that team better by going through the grind. That's fine with me. It's fine with me if you want to go to Oklahoma City and play hard, make the 6 seed. I'm cool with that because Chris Paul, he is stamped. That's the point guard for a reason. Same on the other side of the coin. I'm fine with Damian Lillard. Like, hey man, I'm staying where I'm at. Give me 60 M's. I go buy me a ring. I go get married and give her a ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, look. And at some point, I think like Portland, for example, they will be competitive just because they're a good organization. They develop their players well. But look, you are one injury away. You are literally one injury away. That happened with Anthony Davis. He got hurt last year. Really, he's been hurt for the last 2 years. But best believe he said, I'm signing with the Pelicans and getting that money, and then y'all can trade me after I sign my money. So get your money and don't try to run to get the ring and then mess around, you get hurt, and then no money, no ring. You got to get something. And the money, if the money is guaranteed in your hand, one in the hand's better than two in the bush. So all right, last team that's not making the playoffs out in the East.
This one's hard, man. This one was challenging because of the teams I've already mentioned. And there's some teams I think we can agree to disagree about. But a team that did make the playoffs, I don't expect to make the playoffs this upcoming season. Man, I actually to your point about earlier, right? Cavs or Raptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two teams is the two teams I was struggling with, like who's going to be in, who's going to be out. If I expect the Hawks, I expect the Hawks to do well and do better, then some team has to be eliminated out. And the one team I think I'm going to eliminate out, or have eliminated out, is actually going to be the Chicago Bulls.
Ooh.
I'm going to take the Bulls out.
Did you just take my whole? I think you just took my whole
list.
And the reason I say that is the Bulls won games, or DeMar DeRozan did really well against teams that were not on the level of Chicago or lower. Mm-hmm. That's when he did well. When he saw playoff type contention teams, he wasn't MVP, right? We had ramped him up to be MVP candidate, at least top 5. And then it was just like, man, when it started hitting the ground, it just wasn't him. Not, don't get me wrong, no, Zach LaVine's coming back. You got Vucci in the paint.
Lonzo.
You got Lonzo coming back.
Caruso.
And Caruso, like, that's
I didn't have Chicago, y'all. I didn't have Chicago. Chicago's not on the list. Y'all too. It wasn't me. Yeah. Chicago gonna be in it for me.
I'm going to eliminate them because, again, somebody's got to get out. And I cannot. I believe in the Raptors. I don't know why. Call me crazy. But I believe in the Raptors more than the Bulls. And I, for damn sure, believe in what DJ Murray has been doing with the Spurs to the Hawks. I mean, if you look at the Spurs, name me at least 3 other players off the Spurs lineup, and you're not going to be able to. And this still was a team ran by DJ Murray that still was in a playing scenario. Now you're giving him Trae Young, John Collins, and some other weapons around him. Yeah. And I believe, again, I got to choose between the two. I'm going to choose the Hawks. Bye, Bulls. And I ain't BSing either.
Literally, my sentiments, right? Like the Hawks, like getting Jonte Murray, that's the best move the Hawks could have made, right? People may understand, it's going to take the ball out of Trae Young's hands, blah, blah, blah. Basketball-wise, for me, there's somebody that played 2K, honestly, when I was playing with the Warriors, my favorite lineup was when I had Sean Livingston at point and Steph Curry off ball. Because you got a sniper ready, lock and loaded that can literally shoot anywhere on the court. And you got a Jonte Murray who's a bucket, and it's not going to mind getting Murray the ball. Like, man, look, the Hawks are going to be one of the most exciting teams to play. I definitely got them in the playoffs for sure. But for a team that I don't have, Bulls, like I just said, for your sentiments, exactly. Are they going to stay healthy, for one? For two, is DeMar DeRozan going to continue to be Superman like he was last year? Which I honestly don't expect, because I expect the Eastern Conference to be better. And number 3, did you kind of correct your inside defense? You know what I'm saying? Vooch, I'm attacking him all game.
All day.
You know all day. I think they had Tristan Thompson, but he damn near 35.
They got Drummond there. Yeah.
Drummond
played on this 6 team in like 3 seasons. Drummond everywhere, man. I'm sick of him. Bro.
Exactly. So I'm like, did you really correct the issue that you've had for the last 2 years? And no, you didn't. So I like the Bulls. Shout out to Zach LaVine for getting his money, but I mean, are they a better team than Washington if healthy? Nah. Are they a better team than the Cavs right now? Nah. Are they a better teams than the Raptors right now? Nah, probably not. So I got to kick the Bulls out. But who you got, Savage?
I can't wait to hear this one. I'm right here with it. I got to hear it.
So here's the thing about the Bulls, right? The Bulls are gonna be your quintessential. That's vocab with Savage for y'all. Quintessential regular season team. DeMar DeRozan is your main guy. If you just gotta win one game in a series, they're gonna figure him out. I'm about to just double him. We gonna double him. We cutting that off. I do not know how I feel about DeJounte Murray on the Hawks. I don't know. It's
gonna be beautiful, brother. Trust me. When have I ever led you wrong? You
got time? You got time? So here's the thing about the Hawks. Like as a player, I love DeJounte Murray. Like I love him. I love like how he plays. He's a hard player, play defense. I think he was first team all defense a couple years ago. He was in the running for like defensive player of the year at some point. He walking triple double. I think he like leading the league in like at least number 2 in assists, something like that. Like, dude, his usage probably is out of the gym, along with Trae Young. So I feel like there should be some level of equaling out for the both of them to play together. NBA players are professionals. I know it's the whole one ball thing. They'll figure it out. I think they'll figure it out. But my worry is that it'll be too late when they figure it out. And they'll be in that like 8, 9, 10 range.
That's fair.
And then you in a 1-game series with DeMar DeRozan, and you got to play him. And that's the guy that you want in a 1-game series. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. Hopefully Lonzo's healthy, because Lonzo changes the game for Chicago. I think they were number 1 seed, I think, at some point with Lonzo. So hopefully he stay healthy. I'm gonna assume he stay healthy. But I'm looking at the Hawks division. Sheedy, you in that division. Miami in that division. You know what I'm saying? Washington is in that division. And I'm like, Washington has some stability in terms of like players have played together last year. And so they're playing together again this year. That's consistency. And we know this LBR media is key. Consistency is key for Washington. So I'm looking at those two teams. I'm like, they probably be better than the Hawks. Just my opinion. Charlotte could be a tough out depending on how they develop. LaMelo was an all-star last year. I'm assuming he's going to develop. They drafted big man out of Duke. I'm assuming he's going to be okay. Terry Rozier is a bucket. He's in his right role as an off-ball player for Charlotte. I think Charlotte will be on the outside looking in as far as like the play-in area, but they're going to be a tough out. And then I'm looking at Orlando. I'm looking at Paolo Banchero. Oh. I'm looking at Orlando. Like, I'm not ready to say they're a playoff team yet.
Oh, I know you're not. I know you. I ain't enough crack in the world. Ain't enough crack in the world.
But I'm looking at Paolo Banchero like, that's 6'11". That's 6'11", and he's scoring everywhere easily.
Look, the Magic got a lot of young pieces. I mean, they can make some. No pun intended.
They young, but they cohesive.
Magic, no pun intended.
They cohesive. Like Wendell Carter. I don't know about Jonathan Isaac. I don't know. Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs.
They got a lot at the guards. Boy.
They got a lot of guards, but I feel like something.
They play well together. They play well together.
Yes,
they play well
together. They got no choice.
I'm not saying they're better than Atlanta, but I feel like there's gonna be some type of beating each other up, like NFC East, where everybody's just like mid, and then at some point somebody rises to the top towards the end of the season. So I feel like you could run into an issue where everybody has like the similar record, and the Hawks are like a game out of like 8th, 9th, to where you're in a position where you got to win 2 games to make the playoffs. So it's not a strong feeling, but I got the Hawks, man. I'm kind of iffy. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like the next year, after they have a year together, will be much, much better than this upcoming year. But I think it takes time. It took LeBron, D-Wade, and them time to get it right. I mean, they made the finals first year, but like it took them time to say, okay, I understand. People forget they started off rough. That first season was rough.
Sir.
It was like 9-7. It was bad. Mm-hmm. It took them a while to get together, but I don't see LeBron, D-Wade, or Bosh on the Atlanta Hawks. So I think they're gonna struggle a little bit to start.
Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Chicago, man. Chicago, they making that. Y'all know that. Come on. That's a regular season team. That's a regular season team.
We'll see. Like the Rockets with James Harden?
Yes. Yes. And then they get the yips in the playoffs, and that's what's gonna happen. All right, so we can reverse the order for the West, and I will say the team that I have that didn't make it last year and are gonna make it this year, it's gonna be the Clippers, because I think Kawhi got to play at some point. Kawhi got to play. Paul George got to play. Ty Lue is a good coach. You can borderline great coach, because I feel like every time they're like close to the playoffs or they're in the playoffs without their main players, they still play well. They still play good defensively. They got Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac from the Lakers a couple years ago. They just have a team that just knows how to win, and I think that means a lot once you get your actual superstar players to play. And Kawhi, I can't remember last I seen Kawhi, but Kawhi's still that dude for me. Like when Kawhi was with Toronto, I said he's the best player in the NBA. Because I mean, he blocking shots with his middle finger. He's scoring at will when he wants to. That's Kawhi. Kawhi is just about 31 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. Paul George is great as a secondary option. We've seen him as a number 1 option a little bit, and he was halfway decent. Well, not even halfway. He was way better than decent in that option. So I feel like if they just get their players back and they play for give me 58 games, Kawhi. Just give me 58 games. Just play basketball for more than half the season, and the Clippers should make the playoffs easily. Easily. It should not be a problem to make playoffs.
I said the same thing. I say give me 50 games, Savage.
Yeah, I'll take 50. Give me 50.
Give me 50 games. You give me 50 games and you're not in the play-in. You know what I'm saying? Like you're Kawhi Leonard, and that this is a Clippers team that's loaded and ready to go. And what I mean by that is the way we're seeing basketball now. We saw in the NBA Finals, the Celtics, how they got a bunch of wings together and was like, go do your thing. That's literally what the Clippers are doing right now. Only their wings are defensively hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With Paul George, you got Covington out there. You got Powell, who's doing
John Wall is there now.
Hello. For the long. And then Reggie Jackson, we're seeing hit. We didn't know what Reggie Jackson was going to do. We didn't know. No, a few years ago, we didn't know if he was going to still be in the league. And now I think he's found a team and, a coach that likes what he does. So I would like for the Clippers to get a facilitator point guard. Of course, that's just me, somebody that'll facilitate once Kawhi and everybody get healthy to get them the ball, and Reggie off the bench for sure to let him do his thing. But Ty Lue is doing his thing for sure. This will be a top 3 team in the Western Conference if Kawhi even give us 50 games.
It's a contender.
So,
they can be a title contender if they just,
be healthy. They are. As a bandwagon Warriors fan that I am, they're the team that I'm like, damn, we got to see them in the future. But I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah, it's a full sweep here. Definitely want to say that team in LA that they're in a playing scenario, right? And they lost that first game, right? And that Paul George did play that first game, and then sat out the second game. I think they saw themselves as a better 2 versus 7 as opposed to 1 versus 8. But that's neither here nor there. There is not enough credit stated for Mr. I got crossed over for a 3-point shot coach, as Tyronn Lue has done. It's so much about, the step over, right, that Iverson did to him. But people don't really talk about how he does X's and O's so well. This team was in a planned scenario without we could say a top 4 player if when fully healthy in the league. And you have Paul George, who's your second best option, who was out for a significant amount of games and was playing hurt even when he was playing. And they still made it in the West to be a game away. There's not enough said about him. And so I see nothing more than you literally, you get 3 players essentially with Kawhi, John Wall, and Paul George coming back this offseason. And to your point,
what the hell are we thinking about John Wall? How we thinking about John Wall? Like, come on, man.
John Wall is a third option with Paul George and Kawhi. I'll take that all day.
All day.
If John Wall can just be locked in defensively, because he was a great defensive player. He still can be. But you telling him to guard the third option? and Kawhi and PG can guard your main too? I mean, I take that all day long.
Yeah, what we're talking about here, we're talking about, to your point, a championship contender. We're talking about someone that's contending for the Western Conference Finals, if not the finals themselves. So give me Clippers back in to the playoffs this upcoming season.
So Kawhi didn't even play last year, of course, and Paul George only played 31 games. And they we saw where they were at when Paul George played 31 games and Kawhi played 0. If Kawhi plays 10 games, this is different. This is literally different. So we all had a clean sweep with the Clippers. I think we have a clean sweep here as well with the team that made it last year and not making next year, and that's the Utah Jazz. I mean, first of all, I blame them for Kevin Durant not getting traded, because how the hell you get 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert? That don't make no damn sense, for one. For two, them trash-ass uniforms, you don't deserve to make no playoffs till y'all figure out what the hell y'all doing with y'all uniforms, man. Like, go back to the mountain junts, go back to the D Will junts, the powder blue and the dark blue with the Boozer and Paul. Yes, go back to them junts. Like, go back to the one y'all had before, when y'all had the guy that won the dunk contest, who I don't even remember his name. Like, whatever y'all doing, I don't even understand the culture behind the black and yellow. I don't even understand that. Like, I do not understand that. Those are the most practice uniform I've ever seen. Them the Pro-Am uniforms too from NBA 2K. Them the Pro-Am uniforms. Literally. Yeah, but I don't even have no analysis for the Jazz. Just they trash. Donovan Mitchell gonna be traded at some point to the Knicks.
Hold on, bro. You just said they hooping in Pro-Am uniform.
Yeah, for free.
For free.
For free. Might as well set them on up.
Them Johns look reversible. Y'all remember the East Bay magazine? You buy a jersey for your AAU team, the reversible Johns. Them Johns are East Bay jerseys, bro. So give me the Jazz for no other reason aside from trading Rudy Gobert and them uniforms. I do not need to see them on national TV ever again until they figure something out. I don't want to see them ever again. Clarkson, who else over there? I don't even remember who over there. Mike Conley. Free Mike Conley, man. Free Mike Conley. Get him out of there.
Now that we can agree about. Yes.
Get him out of there. But yeah, you talk Jazz. I ain't gonna say. Y'all go ahead. I ain't gonna say about Jazz.
I mean, we talking about a team that's playing Pro-Am uniform. So I mean, it is what it is. Is what is D Wade doing over there? Like what you doing, bro?
Yeah, he was he a GM owner or something?
Recruiting.
What'd you say?
Recruiting.
He don't need to be doing something. Are they listening to him though? Because I'm pretty sure if D Wade would have saw them uniforms, he'd be like, nah, hell no. But that's neither here or there. Danny Ainge is becoming the new Jerry West in front offices. For those that don't know, Jerry West literally got anyone and everyone that he wanted to do. Anything that when he wanted to make happen, he did make happen. In the front office, I think we're seeing that in Danny Ainge as well. So besides that uniforms, the Jazz will compete for the number 1 seed, and they may try to go after the kid in France. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name right now.
Wembanyama.
Then him. Then you talking about a player that can do everything. Yeah. I'm selling. I'm selling all season if I'm the Utah Jazz, but free Mike Conley for sure. But if it's the team I don't have making the playoffs for sure, it's the Jazz.
Yeah, and there's going to be a nice string attached to the teams that don't make it here for me. But I think when you talk about free Mike Conley, I mean, Cavs,
Yeah.
Hey, that'll be beautiful.
Come back to Ohio, man. I'll just say this, man, because we've said enough about this team. Yes, we don't want to see him on TV. Donovan Mitchell has proven time and time again he is not a number 1 option.
Facts.
Sorry, Donovan.
Facts.
You're not that. You're not the 6'1", I don't know, Hall of Fame player that you think you may be. And I'm sorry, D Wade is pumping your head like that as well. And so they're gonna figure this out the very hard way. They're just going to figure it out without being in the playoffs this season, next season, and for at least a few more seasons after that. But Utah Jazz. Let me say this real quick. The Utah Jazz didn't scare me even when they had Rudy Gobert.
Facts.
And Donovan Mitchell.
Facts.
So now Rudy's gone. Donovan, I don't even know what he's doing, but gone with the win. I'm out.
Facts. Speaking of Donovan Mitchell,
I can't let you disrespect Donnie Mitchell like that, my boy. You got.
He's number 2 option. It's not stepping the face.
I'm not. Is he Jalen? He's not Jason Tatum. He's not a Kevin Durant. Like, these are number 1 options, Jimmy.
But I think at the end of the day, if he goes to a good team where he can be a great number 2, we could be looking at a Hall of Fame.
Miami.
So if he goes, which is my number 1 option for him, honestly. So, you know what I'm saying? He'll put up still 25 points a game like he's doing. I think that's Hall of Fame numbers. So that's my boy. I used to call him the Trap Jazz. Officially now, rest in peace to the Trap Jazz.
Them folks freeform Jazz now. Trash ass jerseys, man.
Trash Jazz. There we go, the Trash Jazz.
Them jerseys.
That's got a new name, the Trash Jazz.
Them jerseys are terrible. So off top of your head, where I think Donovan Mitchell going? I think he going to New York. I think New York going to push all they chips in for him. I said Miami, but I think New York want him, and he wants to be in New York.
I think it'll be Miami, but because New York, you got Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? It's only 1 basketball, and you got everybody else, especially RJ Barrett, who's still trying to get paid too. There's only 1 basketball. I don't think the fit there will be good. Next year, you're going to be talking about who you're going to be trying to trade. When you go to Miami, you already know your spot. You know your position. You're going to hoop.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be contingent upon who has the best trade package, to be honest. And I know we'd be offering at least Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. And
look, they're fitting Utah.
Yeah, I mean, they can have it. I don't even think I want him on the team, fellas.
Really?
For Miami, I really don't. So I'd rather him be in New York. And let me say this, because I mean, we didn't want to talk about this, but
yeah,
the reason why I don't want that is because I want to see who is Victor Oladipo now.
Okay. Yeah.
He didn't really get back to us to like the end of the season, right? And that towards the end of the season, we let him play the first round.
Yeah,
and we really put him on defensive assignments realistically in the second round. So I would like to see what Victor we can really get before we get a Donovan Mitchell. That's why I'd rather take KD over Donovan Mitchell, not because of the all-starness and all that, but realistically, Victor plays better defense than Donovan Mitchell. I can tell you that right
now. That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. Victor gonna sit in that chair.
Good point.
All right. So this next team that I got in, again, no analysis. I just feel like it makes sense. They're not letting LeBron miss 2 years in a row. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. It ain't even about LeBron for me. Like I'm Anthony Davis. It like y'all know me. If you listen to me on anybody podcast, it's who guarding AD. I still believe that. I still believe that AD can be that dude. He is the ultimate second option for any NBA team. Not sure he could be a number one, but if he's number two, you getting his work. I think AD coming back, he was hurt again last year. He has shown that he gets hurt a lot for no reason. I think part of it is mental in terms of like the makeup of the team. I actually believe that Russell Westbrook is going to be out of there at some point this season. I think they're going to try to make it work, and it's probably not going to work again because Westbrook, I mean, they trying to put him in the corner to shoot threes. I don't want him shooting beyond anybody's line. Like, I need you to be in the paint. If it ain't the paint, don't do it. just don't do it. So I think that Westbrook is going to be gone at some point. It might not be for Kyrie. It might just be to get somebody else as like a good third option for the Lakers. But I think mainly with Anthony Davis, this is the year to prove to everybody that you are still that dude, that you are a all defensive first, second team player, whichever one you want to pick. And then on offense, nobody can guard you. Like literally nobody can guard this man. I saw this man give Jokic that work in the bubble. I saw this man like literally score 30, 40 points, 20 rebounds. He had like a 30-20 game, I think, at one point. Like the dude can do it. It's just a matter of like just do it, bro. So give me the Lakers, man. They ain't letting LeBron after playoffs 2 years in a row. They ain't doing it. I refuse to believe that. Not in Adam Silver's NBA. I refuse to believe it.
So you said this is teams that we got making the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm. They didn't make it last year.
They didn't make it last year. I like your point about LA for sure. If Anthony Davis can be Anthony, they said they were going to try to run the offense through him, which I can kind of believe at this point. Bron's still going to be Bron. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, he's going to be pretty good. But the team I got will be Portland. I think you get a healthy Dame Lillard coming back with a better, more rounded team around him. And they're going to make some noise in the playoffs, or at least in the play-ins for sure. Jeremy Grant, who's a player that I've been raving for the last couple of years, a baller. He's going to be in Portland now, and I think that it does make him a little better. And we saw we're seeing Anthony Simmons rise, and it's beautiful to watch. As a basketball player,
100 million of them rising.
So he's doing his thing for sure. They had a really good draft. So, and like I said, you get Dame Lillard, just got paid, healthy, ready to prove something. I think you combine those things, you get the Portland Trailblazers number 8, number 7 seed, something like that.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Man. It's tough.
That is. It is. And so I guess I'll pull the hair here without the hair. I got the Lakers as well. I think both teams from LA make it. Now, to your point that you made earlier, Savage, and you wrote on the division, I looked at this division as well earlier on. You got the Suns,
deep,
Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, and
Kings better.
I was just about to say the Kings are going to be a sleeper team for other people. Like they're going to knock somebody out just because. Not saying in a playing scenario, but just we lost these games to the Kings, and we're not supposed to lose to the Kings. They're not the same Kings anymore. They're better than the post Vlade, Chris Webber Kings, anyways. But LeBron not in the playoffs. AD not in the playoffs. I like the coaching changes. I think someone that's actually going to talk to Russell Westbrook. Not just let him do what he wants to do. Also, I agree. Like, I don't want him shooting a 3-point shot. I need him to stay in the volleyball line, so to speak.
Yes.
And so if it ain't in the volleyball lanes, brother, then you need to pass. And then, play some defense. Because you used to lead the league in steals a time or two. So let's try to bring that back. But two teams. Well, actually, let me back up. There'll be 3 teams from the state of California, 2 teams from LA specifically that will definitely be in the playoffs upcoming season.
So with the Lakers, right? It's too many ifs. Did they get better this offseason? I mean, did you know what I'm saying?
They ain't nobody.
People keep talking about, oh, you need somebody to talk to Russ. You need somebody to do it with Russ. You're talking to somebody who loved the Oklahoma City Thunders, and Russell and KD were major parts of that. I've loved and seen Russell's game progress, but he's always been the same player.
Yeah,
Russ is going to rest regardless. He's the alpha in the room, and that's nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got some players who believe and they're that they're better than what they are, and like, this is no disrespect to Russell because he's done his thing, triple doubles. That's his mentality. He's gonna go get it. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna go get it. And that's one thing I love about Russ. But there's no talking to Russell Westbrook. You're not finna tell Russell Westbrook, hey, go sit in this corner and go shoot.
Talk to him, he's talking back to your ass.
Or even in the bubble, he's still gonna talk.
And we were like,
ain't no crowd, bro. Who you talking to?
Exactly. Come on, man. But we're talking like I've seen this literally in one of my favorite players growing up, which was Allen Iverson. He was in my opinion, was stuck in his ways. And I'm always feel some kind of way because he never played a home game in Memphis. Like I
knew he was gonna bring that up.
But that's Allen Iverson. That's to me one of the most influential basketball players to ever play the game.
Thanks.
But on the court, you got to kind of it's a sacrifice that some players be like I'll make, and some be like I won't. Russ is one of those players, and I don't see the Lakers being that much better.
What does sacrifice for Russell Westbrook look like for y'all? What does that look like?
Being a two-way playmaker, and just being able to facilitate. You know what I'm saying? If I see Anthony Davis in a spot, I'm gonna give him the ball instead of trying to shoot. Instead of, you know what I'm saying, just trying to do too much on the offense. Like, just let it flow. But now Russ gonna pull up for that mid-range. He's gonna pull up he's gonna attack. He's gonna do his thing. That's you can't nah, man. Like every single time, like nah. You gotta think more so. I love for Russ. If Russ can lead the league in assists this year,
that would be ideal. Because what that means is that you're getting lobs to AD, you're getting lobs to Bron, you're hitting your wide open shooters, you're hitting Austin Reeves in the corner. And if Russ can do if he can get 10 assists, 15-ish points, and you can get your rebounds. That's just do you get your rebounds.
Here's the thing, Savage. He gonna get his 10 assists because, like I said, that's him.
Yeah.
But if you're able to okay, I'm gonna lead the NBA in assists. If you're going with that mentality, that means you're going with the mentality. I'm gonna step back and try to help others. You know what I'm saying? If Russ is trying to shoot more than AD, if we're saying games he shoot more than LeBron, those are issues for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you mentioned sacrifice, the sacrifice has to be him having the ball less in his hands, right? You can lead the league in assists, but if you lead the league in turnovers too, then it's a wash, if you ask me. So to me, just less or more sets that involve him passing the ball a little bit sooner in the offense, if not on an off-ball situation, is more of the sacrifice that I need to see offensively. I think defensively he can make himself better. I think he was down on himself on defense because of how he was playing offensively, which is a mental lapse. You can't, there's no rating about that. You just, all right, hey man, I just turned the ball over again. Damn, I'm not gonna play defense hard, right? Yeah. And that's just a thing I could tell, I could see it in his head. It just got to him. And that's less sacrificing for me means less of him having the ball in his hands, more, Ham already talked about, more of him cutting to the rim, stuff like that, where he does not have the ball as much. And it means sacrificing means LeBron is back to playing more of a point guard role for them. And I mean, see how that ended up for him.
Yeah, that honestly makes the most sense for the Lakers. Is let LeBron run point, Westbrook is your cutter, your slash, or whatever, and then really run the offense through AD, do an inside out type of thing. Where if they collapsing on AD, kick it out to your shooters, knock down your shot. You wide open, you hit it wide open in warm ups, like get shot down. So
in a weird, if I can see more of the Dwayne Wade in Russell Westbrook's game next season, Russell Westbrook, the Lakers will be a better team. Like Russ can watch some old film of the
Miami Heat with LeBron. Yeah, just do that.
What they did was special, but that's when Wade was like, "All right, Bron, do your thing."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Russ got to do that.
Yeah, that's fact. Russell actually shot 16 shots per game, which to me sounds like a lot. But I look at previous years at Washington, he shot 19 shots a game. At Houston, 22. 16 is still a lot for me. Like you can get 12, 12 to 14 roughly, because like, and it also depends on where you're shooting them from, because he shot 16 shots, but like 3 of them were for 3. I don't need to shoot no 3s, to be honest. Like you can get 2, and they got me from the corner. That's it. Don't shoot off the dribble, catch and shoot 3s only, because you're probably going to be wide open. Now, if you're wide open, I'm like, cool, like, hey man, you wide open, you got like, it's Ben Simmons, like, you wide open, bro, shoot it, like, you got to shoot it, but not this off the dribble shot creating this. Like, no, we need you to, if you're dribbling the ball, have a purpose. If you going to drive and kick, you know, whatever, just figure out what you're doing when you're doing it, but don't do nothing stupid. That's the main thing. All right, my last team that I had that made the playoffs last year that's not making it this year. I don't know if y'all have this team. I don't know. Y'all might. I don't know. And it's fun because I praised this team for the trade they made for Rudy Gobert, but I feel like there's a high risk, high reward for the situation. It's not 2003. I don't know why you got Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, 2 7-footers on the same team. Now, granted, they do different things, so you could probably kind of make it work. I just don't believe that Gobert is going to play on the floor when it matters most. Now, they might accrue a lot of, another vocabulary word for y'all, they might accrue a lot of regular season wins, but I think that's contingent upon the growth of Anthony Edwards, the growth of Jaden, I think Jaden McDaniels is his name. They lost Pat Bev, who I think was important to what the culture and identity of that team was. They need a strong veteran with them. Cat, not a strong veteran. Ant-Man's in his third year, I believe. He still got some growing to do. But I feel weird about it. I feel weird about how they're going to construct this team. And if it doesn't go well for them early on, I can see them being demoralized as a team. And I say that because this team gets demoralized in the game, like literally in the game. There is no, Grizzlies fan, y'all know that. There is no reason why the Grizzlies should have won that series on several occasions. It was like at least 4 out of the 5 or 6 games they played where they were up by double digits and was kicking the Grizzlies' ass all game long. And then it just flipped. Like it just flipped. That lets me know that y'all have no dog in your heart. It's just not there. It can get there. I like Ant-Man got it. Ant-Man got dog. He got dog in him. Cat, his name is Cat. Rudy Gobert, he don't play when it matters most. So I picked the Timberwolves. Again, they probably could make 8th, 7th seed, but I think a lot of variables have to be perfect for that to happen. And I don't know if they have that strong veteran voice that's going to tell them, hey man, stick with it. That was Pat Bev last year. Pat Bev was the heartbeat of that team. He's now is he in Utah? Or is he get cut? I don't even remember where he's at now. He can't.
He's in Utah now.
Pat Bev ain't gonna last in Utah. Get free Pat Bev.
He ain't gonna
last in Utah.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Free Pat Bev because he ain't gonna last in Utah. He black as hell. He ain't gonna last in Utah. He ain't gonna last in Utah. So yeah, I got Timberwolves, man. I don't know. I love Ant-Man. Y'all know I love Ant-Man. But Ant-Man, he needs some help, and I don't think Gobert was the one to help him.
It's funny because I think the complete opposite. I think that they really got Rudy Gobert for a reason. I know it's not 2003, but we're looking at Karl-Anthony Towns, who's the best shooting big in the NBA. And I think that this was a move for the Timberwolves to better utilize that. You know, if you honestly, if you put Rudy Gobert on that team last season, do we beat them? Do the Grizz beat them?
That's a good question.
I don't know. Because you got an inside defensive presence, you know what I'm saying? And you got the best defensive presence in the league. We're going to call Rudy Gobert what it is. We call him what he want offensively. We can call him, you know, the guy that gave everybody COVID. It is what it is with him on that part. But when you talk about locking down that paint, he's the best in the league to do it. So you combine him with this team, you got the Twin Towers inside for one. For two, you know, we're gonna see Anthony Edwards explode more. You know what I'm saying? We expect his points to rise. D'Angelo Russell kind of had an off season in my opinion. I think he'll play a little bit more better, or a little bit more confident, and a little bit more consistent. You know what I'm saying? Consistent is key. I think we'll see more consistency from him. So I got them making the playoffs. For this team, I literally had to go, are they better than Boom? Are they better than Boom? And this team from that came with a no. That team is the Denver Nuggets.
Y'all know. I am shocked and appalled, but I'll let you talk.
Whoa. The reason everybody shocked is because y'all know I love me some Denver Nuggets. Jokic is MVP for a reason.
Back to back, like lethal weapon. Wait a minute.
Exactly. But when you talk about Jamal Murray coming back, how is he gonna come back? And for a Western Conference that's 8, 9, 10, 11 teams we can bring up right now that got better, are you gonna have time for Jamal Murray to come and adjust? When is Michael Porter Jr. gonna come back healthy? Which at this point we may get 40 games a season out of him. That's gonna be an issue. They traded Will Barton. They got KCP, which will help with a little bit, but you traded Monte Morris, which I just said early in the podcast. That's gonna hurt. That's like the Grizzlies not having Tyus Jones. That's gonna hurt, but thank God we got him back for sure. But like I said, I literally had to go, are you better than the Suns? No. Grizz? No. Warriors? No. Mavericks? No. Minnesota? I just play my case for Minnesota, so no. Clippers? No. Pelicans? No. Portland? I just said they were gonna make the playoffs. No. That's literally what I had to do for this Nuggets team. So,
hold on, I wasn't ready for that. I was not expecting Denver.
Like research Sook is a crazy too, bro.
So speaking of research, do you know Jokic is on and off numbers? When he plays, it's a problem. His plus minus got to be top 10
for a reason. But I'm saying it's the other factors around Jokic that's going to determine if they make the play. And everybody literally, and we can name teams that got better. When you're talking about basketball, are they better than these teams while Jamal Murray's trying to get healthy? Like I said, is Michael Porter Jr. finally going to be healthy? You lost your consistency balance with losing Morris. Like all of these factors are going to be issues for the Nuggets. I love Jokic. Jokic is that guy. Yeah. This 2-time MVP for sure, well deserved, but the pieces around him, it kind of got me looking at this Western Conference like, nah.
It's a log jam. It's a log jam for sure. I just want to pick in Denver. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, it is because to your point, too, you got the Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors, Mavericks. We definitely are all scrapping the Jazz. I'm not gonna say anything about the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Pelicans that made it last season, and we're adding the Clippers for sure. And you added the Blazers, so I definitely hear you. Every man has
the Pelicans can make the playoffs next season.
Sheesh. Yeah, they were in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs last season and gave the Suns some work. If you want to be honest, without Zion, I think that was more or less.
I had him in. Yeah,
and I still got him in. I got Brandon Ingram will continue to move up the ladder that he's been going. But I'm actually going to side with Savage on this one. I got the Timberwolves out. And my reason for the Timberwolves being out is fourth quarter and coaching. In the fourth quarter, can I play both of these players at the same time in regards to my bigs? And if I can, then what am I sacrificing? Because at the other side of the ball, more than not, 9 times out of 10, the team is going to go small ball during the fourth quarter. And 2 7-footers ain't small, right? And yes, I'm not debating Rudy Gobert and his ability to block a shot. Nor am I doubting Karl Anthony Towns for hitting a 3-pointer because he won a 3-point contest. But essentially, can these legs get it done time in and time out, even with back-to-back games in the fourth quarter? And even when you watch the games, period, even in the playoffs, these two players didn't really see the court during the fourth quarter in the crunch time moments. And it was hurtful. The other part about the Timberwolves to me is their coaching. To the point that you brought up, Savage, yeah, they were actually beating the Grizzlies on multiple occasions. And terrible coaching allowed them to see the playoffs out very much sooner than later. I still had the Grizzlies win the series regardless, but the coaching on the Timberwolves could have actually changed that whole dramatic and had the Grizzlies going home in the first round and not the Timberwolves. And so I think the Timberwolves have one of the worst coaches, which is going to de-escalate or, bring them down also as well out of the playoff contention. They barely made it in the play-in scenario. They popped champagne and everything after they won. And they're not going to get no champagne showers this upcoming season. There's too many teams in California that won it. The Nuggets, Jamal Murray or Michael Porter lists or not, I get you with Monte Morris, but that man, Joker, man, they were terrible without him. And as long as he's playing at least 65 games, I got to see him in the playoffs. And so, again, I just think the Timberwolves, and again, it comes down to coaching for me as well, that they're not going to make the playoffs. And you did all of that to get another 7-footer to not be in the playoffs.
They better make the playoffs, man. That's my thing, because you trade 5 first-round picks, dude. Like, and my thing is, it has to work immediately. It has to. They have to win. Like, you have to be. Well, I don't have to win per se, but you got to at least get to a conference finals. And if I don't know if y'all know Timberwolves history, they made it probably like one time with KG and them, Wally Zerbiak and all of them, Troy Hudson, and they played the Lakers and they got smacked. Like, y'all got to make the conference finals. And I don't know if Gold State's still here. Memphis is here.
Are you saying they got to make it next season, or are you saying they got to make it period?
They got to make it within the next, I think, 2 to 3 years.
I think 2. Yeah, I think 2 to 3 years. With a trade of that substantial amount, 5 first round, you got to do something.
You got to make it next,
which will mean they have to make it this season. But I think for me to even think about the Timberwolves even further, I'm sorry, Savage, about cutting you off.
You good.
For me to think about them any further, they'd have to eliminate their coach. What I watched was complete trash. You were up 20 plus points and you decided not to call timeout while another team was on runs. That is basic coaching right there. I don't care. You're not Phil Jackson, bro. You're not. And so I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I feel like at some point, Sheedy, if they struggle to start this season, you have to fire the coach because it's consistent with what happened in the playoffs. And I think they're gonna find that out really quickly. They're gonna be like, "Hey, man, this ain't it. We got to find somebody else." And then when you do that, depending on who the coach is, I know when you make a coaching change mid-season, it can inspire the team. But like I said, the Timberwolves, they don't have any dog in them. I love Ant-Man, but I don't think Ant-Man ready to be a leader. I think he needs some seasoning because even the way that he talks sometimes, it's funny, but it's not conducive to leadership. You know what I'm saying? Ja Morant exudes that leadership when you hear him talking about like, nah, man, he over here hyping up, Trip, hyping up everybody else that's struggling. But like when you see Ant-Man, like he's saying some goofy shit in his press conference, which is great. But you got to have some type of leadership. You're not getting it from the coach. You lost it with Pat Bev because Pat Bev was the consistency, and now you're relying on Ant-Man. So
I think we're underrating the Cat in this whole situation. I think Cat is ready to be that leader. I think he is. You gave him a taste of the play, especially with everything that he's gone through.
That's facts. Yeah, lose his mom. Yeah,
we've seen still his game progress into the best big man shooter in the game for sure. Somebody offensively who can get you that. Like he's a good player, but I think as far as leaders go, I think Cat is ready to do that. And I think that if he does do that, we'll be looking at a good team. Especially but you got bucket getters offensively, balanced. Like this is a real balanced team. So that's kind of why I got them still in the playoffs.
Quick question to both of y'all. How many All-Stars will they have next year? Timberwolves.
2.
Who would that be?
Ant-Man and Cat.
Okay. So no Gobert. Okay.
No, he don't need to be an all-star. Just lock down the paint. Like 2-3 years, but that's kind of a core. It's that's kind of a core in a way. Like everybody's getting paid. Of course, you're gonna have to pay Ant-Man when it comes time, but I think that's kind of a core you can kind of build around. Come bring in a coach that can make something happen. You know what I'm saying? D Russ ain't no bum, but if you got to move him for a better, better point guard or do whatever you got to do with him, but I think you can make something happen with those three in the future, but you still got to worry about the Warriors.
Follow-up question: do you think if they struggle, do they trade Cat?
No, that's your cornerstone piece. That's every team in the league is looking for a player that can do what Cat does. A 3-point, a big that can make threes. Every team want that. No,
And I think that's the point, right? First of all, I think there's only one player for the All-Star, and that's Ant-Man. Second of all, I'm really high on trading players for high value. Mm-hmm. And I think if it's not working out, you didn't do all this for Rudy Gobert to come here to get traded again. Mm-hmm. You did all this for Ant at the end of the day. So Cat and maybe D'Lo combo would have to go. And you can get some high surface area for that. But I think
I'm like Kevin Durant.
I mean, that's two big pieces, Brooklyn. If you're listening, I mean, go get it.
Get D'Lo back. Get Cat. I mean, shoot.
I didn't think I was gonna come on this podcast and talk about trading Cat. What?
I'm just saying, like, if you're struggling, you're not gonna trade Gobert.
If you're struggling, you're gonna say, okay.
The constant is Cat. So. And I don't know Cat. I look up Cat's contract.
Who's number one on the Timberwolves?
Ant-Man. Easily Ant-Man. Mm-hmm. It has to be Ant-Man. It has to be, because like
you didn't go get a rim protector for Karl Anthony Towns. You got that for Ant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So Cat, he's a free agent in 2024. So you can off him right now. Get somebody 2 years of Cat. And he's 5 years, 158 million. That's low relative to the market right now for an all-star bid that can shoot. You know what I'm saying? So you can get him.
Yeah, y'all gonna have these rumors going to trade.
I'm just saying.
You just put it in the atmosphere, brother.
I'm just putting it out in case they struggle, because the Timberwolves, they started off, I think it was 2 years ago, they were winning a lot of games, and then they just nosedive immediately. That happened 2 years ago. I remember that because they kept tweeting about, we haven't lost a game in like 17 days, and they lost like 25 in a row. It was something crazy like that. So the constant is Karl Anthony Towns. You ain't trading Ant-Man. We saw what he can do on offense. Lord have mercy, in the playoffs. Now Cat can shoot, but I can find me somebody that can shoot. I mean, it might not be a big man, but if I got Gobert and I got Ant-Man who can score out the wazoo, I'm just saying, it's something to think about. It's something to think about, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I didn't think I would be, but damn.
Something to think about.
Right, and some team is going to buy that.
Yep.
Because it worked in a way. You know what I'm saying? It worked. But
and look,
I'm excited to see the Timberwolves gel, but for any other team, like, that's a crazy package. That's like,
man. D'Lo is a starting point guard, and you got Cat who can shoot. Just saying. Look, imagine D'Lo and Cat with Ben Simmons. Oh. Let me not start with that. Let me not start. All right, so we're gonna end it right here with this last last top end, and we can just get out of here after this. Kevin Durant, y'all. What's gonna happen with Kevin Durant? Because I mean, I don't even. You started off. What's up? Because he talking to the GM and the owner, saying I want Nash, and I want the GM gone, but you wanted Nash because Kyrie was cool with Nash, and I don't even know what's gonna happen. I don't know.
It's becoming harder and harder to support Kevin Durant's off-season moves, man.
Yeah, that says a lot coming from two. I just want y'all to know that says a lot.
It's becoming a lot, but I think a lot of people don't understand that Kevin Durant don't have time to play with. This is a man that's going into year 14, and think about us growing up. We talk about players that was in the league 14 years, they're retiring. You know what I'm saying? But we are at a point now where 14, 15-year players are still hooping and putting up 30s against the young bucks. So it's a great thing to see. But I think when you talk about this Nets organization, he requested to be traded, right? But you got 4 years on your contract when you did it. So, for one, if I'm the Nets, I'm not trading you.
Excellent.
For two, I'm not trading you to any of these teams that I got to compete with for the next 4 years as well. And if you think about his list, who we got, the Sixers, who just randomly came out of nowhere.
Boston, Toronto, like what?
Boston, Toronto, Miami Heat. Those are great fits, all great fits for Kevin Durant. But if I'm the Nets organization who ain't, like you said, she ain't won a damn thing in a minute, I'm not trading my best player, the greatest scorer to ever play this game, to another team that I got to go against. That's issue number one. For issue number two, with Kevin Durant, if he realized that, like I said, from top to bottom, this is one of the best rosters he's played with, probably the best roster he played with outside the Golden State Warriors. But it's something going on. It's too many, you know what I'm saying? You signed Kyrie for a 1 year thing. I think that really stunned them because the front office is showing them, Kyrie, we're not with your antics, and I get it. But that's Kevin Durant. You need to get him what that's like saying, Michael Jordan, we finna get you Scottie Pippen for 1 more year. Nah, sign my mans, we gonna make it happen. COVID that's something that nobody's gone through before. You can't hold last season against Kyrie. That's my personal opinion. We'll talk more about that if we need to later. But you also bring in a Ben Simmons. But is he gonna play? Maybe. I hate to say it
he better play.
You know what I'm saying? But he's been saying Ben Simmons won't ever play again.
I've gone on record and said that if Ben Simmons is not playing in game one, I'm looking at him differently. And I'm Ben Simmons' #1 fan. I'm looking if he's not playing game one, I'm like, all right, man. Hey, come on, man.
And so if I'm Kevin Durant, I got my man's for 1 year who said he gonna dip anyway. He already said he going to the Lakers regardless.
Yep.
So I mean, it's Kevin Durant, and it's like if I'm gonna stay here, I want it to be my team. So with that being said, I did a little research like I always do. I think he's trying to get Rich Kleiman in that general manager position because Kevin Durant wants his own team. And if you look at Rich Kleiman, who's Kevin Durant's agent, that's his only client is Kevin Durant. So if I want my own team, I want everybody out this month. I was wrong about Nash.
Dang, we do conspiracy too. Conspiracy.
This is my guy, Kevin Durant. And I see from all angles. I see everything from all angles. I defended Kevin Durant when he went to the Warriors. So I see it from all angles, but at this point, it's like I kind of can't defend him. But this is the information that I got to defend him, and I'm presented to the court. Y'all do whatever y'all want with the information. I don't see Kevin Durant being traded because, like I said, they're not trading him to the Eastern Conference. And for the West, are there any outside of the Memphis Grizzlies? Really, are there any Western Conference teams that can make this move for him?
So I'll take a conspiracy hat from you, Sukin, and put it this way. I think that Kevin Durant's ransom, right, is he's asked to be traded more than once. It's been twice. He keeps bringing it up. And so he doesn't want to play. A way out of his contract, retire. Take a year off, and then come back next season. Him retiring does not diminish who he is. He's still going to be a great scorer. People are still going to sign him up immediately after his retirement year. But if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, I think he does say, all right, cool. Y'all keep basketball this season. I'll be back. I've already sat out a season before and was still able to come back and be very healthy and very productive and was, a big toe away from possibly,
If Kevin Durant sat out, oh my God, that's going to be crazy.
Y'all know what I went through having to go 2 years without watching Kevin Durant?
Bro,
y'all literally saw what I was going through without watching. If I got to sit down and watch a healthy Kevin Durant on the bench, he tweeted earlier about his legacy and how his legacy is through his eyes. Nah, that's not how legacies go, bro. We call Mike the greatest because it's the stories around him, because the people around. We can't sit up here and call you one of the greats if you're healthy and you do some bullshit like this.
Yeah, he gotta play, man. He gotta play.
He's coming from the biggest Kevin Durant fan out here, bro. If you're healthy and you got what you asked for, you gotta play some basketball, dog. You got to.
But it's the question is, what of that he asked for does he really want now? Right? Because he asked to be with Kyrie before. He asked to be with Steve Nash, right? And now he's asked not to be with him. So Kevin Durant got to figure it out.
Kevin Durant said information changed.
Information changed.
Any team that's like a bad luck team in the NBA, I think it'll be the Brooklyn Nets, right? Like we saw even earlier when they got the Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Joe Johnson trade and Darren Williams. We thought, oh shit, this ain't gonna be good. And
I didn't. I was like, hell no, these are trash.
Then it's like the franchise has been kind of like they were on the rise for sure. But like if it's Kevin Durant, if it's the top 2 player in the league, in my opinion, the best player in the league, you gotta accommodate the owner. I can't remember his name. The owner, he's gonna have
Josiah, I think.
Josiah. He's gonna have to accommodate for Kevin Durant. So I don't see Steve Nash making it through the season for sure.
Oh yeah, he gone. I think he gone.
Yeah, because Steve Nash is the coach that got swept with KD and Kyrie. But no one ever talks about that. No one. It is Steve Nash's fault. You have 2 great Hall of Fame players that will be inducted in the Hall of Fame immediately when they can.
First ballot, yeah.
And y'all, he got swept. He had 2 home games. 2. And got swept by a rookie coach.
Hey, that's my favorite point guard of all time. I'm not saying nothing about that. I'm not saying nothing. I ain't gonna say. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about that, man. It's just tough, man, because like something has to give. Like either the GM has to yield, or Kevin Durant gonna have to bend the knee and play ball this year. And it's just really one big mess for Brooklyn. And I think Brooklyn, they have little man syndrome because New York like the Knicks, they're gonna sell out regardless. It's MSG, it's the Knicks. That's New York's team. Brooklyn, like we gotta do something to bring these players, these fans here. Let's get Kevin Durant, let's get Paul Pierce, KG, go get D'Lo, let's go get Blake Griffin. Just do random stuff, and it ends up biting them in the ass, like Took said, every single time. It's like Kevin Durant has to play basketball, but I cannot see him playing in Brooklyn. Like it's just, and I think he will, but it's gonna be such a big story because it's Ben Simmons gonna play. Are Kevin Durant and Kyrie even cool? Like they were best friends prior to they were sitting on the sideline, you know, when Kevin Durant wasn't playing, handshaking and doing stuff, and now it's like.
I don't see it.
He's in what, Switzerland with James Harden right now playing training. Like it's weird. It's so weird. And it's kind of uncomfortable, to be honest. It's like because y'all were literally best friends. Like literally best friends. And now Kyrie, when Kyrie is saying that LeBron, you right, that's a red flag. Because Kyrie was not trying to hear what LeBron was trying to say at all. Kyrie got to Boston immediately. He left a championship contender that was gonna be there every single year to do his own thing. And now he's like, you know what, Bron, you're right. I need to be back with Bron. That's a red flag for everybody. So you got Kyrie, you got KD, and you got Ben, and you got this owner that's doing crazy stuff, and you got Steve Nash and the GM. It's just one big mess. And I might change my mind and say Brooklyn not making playoffs. Now that I'm talking to myself.
My was contingent on Kevin Durant being healthy. So of course, if he's not playing, of course they're not making the playoffs. My thing is, I honestly feel like there was a trade that could have sent Kyrie for Russ. I honestly feel like that would have happened. But ain't no way in hell that you finna have Russ and Kevin.
KD ain't playing with Russ again. That ain't happening.
That's not happening. And if I'm the Nets, I'm like, but we just traded. We gonna play Russell. So it's like, I think that's a trade that would have happened, but the intangibles off the court stopped it from happening. So again, who you gonna trade Kevin Durant to?
I can't even name a package out there right now because if you're trading Kevin Durant to Boston, I got to get Jaylen Brown. I got to get Jason Tatum.
Off the top.
I got to. I got to have Marcus Smart. Like, I'm sorry. That's about, no, this Kevin Durant, dog. Like, no. Give me Marcus Smart. Give me whoever else on that team, the light-skinned dude. Give me everybody but that one player that y'all want to keep. Cool. If I'm Phoenix, I got to get Devin Booker. I got to. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you getting Kevin Durant, bro. Like.
and let's back up here. Whose fault is this? That this team, the Nets, is going to need all this for Kevin Durant.
Freaking Jazz.
Utah Jazz.
Freaking
Utah
Jazz.
Trash Jazz. Gave 5 first-round picks.
Danny A strikes again.
Man. Man, so we gonna keep tabs on Kevin Durant's situation. We might have to do like a weekly report for Kevin Durant because it literally changes every single week. Something new gonna happen. Like a couple weeks ago, it was the Jaylen Brown trade, and all that, and then Toronto Raptors pop up, and just a lot of just random stuff. The season starts in a couple of weeks. Like, we literally are about to get the schedule. I'm assuming this Friday. We already got the Christmas schedule out. We'll get into that a little bit next week. But Kevin Durant is going to be, honestly, a recurring thing on this show. So y'all just come prepared to talk about Kevin Durant as whatever demands he has pops up on our news feeds or whatever. So thank y'all for tuning in. This is episode 1 of 3 the Harder Way. Definitely a good time rapping with y'all. Follow us on social media. I am at msavage901. Sheedy is at It's Really Sheedy, and Took is at Tev Shakir. I may or may not make a Twitter for this podcast. It depends on how I want to do it. We'll see how it goes. But this podcast is actually on the previous Savage Show /IDK feed. So if you are already subscribed to that show, you already subscribed to 3 the Harder Way, so you don't have to do anything extra. The main thing, though, is that we are on YouTube, so you guys will have that video option as well as the audio option, so you can watch us. If you're chilling at the house, or if you're at work and you're on the clock watching this, hey, do what you gotta do, dog. Or if you're on audio, you want to listen to this while you driving to work or cooking food or doing whatever, you got that option as well too. So we are flexible, we are versatile. This is what we do here at 3 the Harder Way. And so we will check y'all in the next episode. Stay safe, be blessed, peace.